Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a strategic briefing from Virtualization Options LLC, a technology research and advisory firm that works with executives. It highlights a critical blind spot that many organizations have, and it's all about a new kind of communication tool, one that's built to keep your team talking when literally everything else has gone silent.
So let's just kick things off with a scenario that every single leader ought to be thinking about. A crisis hits. Could be a cyber attack, a natural disaster, a simple power outage. And just like that, your normal ways of communicating are gone. What's your plan B? Seriously, how do you keep things moving?
The reality is the messaging apps and platforms that our teams rely on every single day, they all share this hidden, fundamental weakness. Like the slide says, they all run through central servers. And that creates a single point of failure, which means if that server gets knocked offline, your communication doesn't just get slow, it just stops, dead in its tracks.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this problem and the solution laid out in the Virtualization Options report, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the vulnerability itself. Then, we'll explore this idea of a decentralized solution, see how it actually works, check out some real-world uses, and finally, take a peek at what's coming next. Right, so let's get into the heart of the problem here. The reason our modern tools can be so fragile all boils down to something called centralized risk. When you've got this one central hub for everything, you're actually creating two huge kinds of risk. The first one is operational, right? An internet outage, a network problem, boom, your communications are cut. But the second one is strategic. That central server becomes this big, juicy target for surveillance, or a super simple choke point for anyone who wants to censor you. Either way you slice it, it's a massive liability. So, how on earth do you get rid of that central risk? Well, the report zeroes in on a solution that is, frankly, a total game changer: decentralization. So what even is a decentralized network? Think of it this way. Instead of sending all your mail to a central post office to be sorted and then delivered, you just walk over and hand the letter directly to your neighbor. It's a direct, person-to-person or peer-to-peer connection. By cutting out that middleman, you get rid of that single point of failure completely. And this slide really lays out the strategic choice in black and white. On the left, you've got the old way, totally dependent on a central server, which makes it fragile. And on the right, you have the decentralized model that Briar uses. It's resilient because of its very design. And, oh yeah, notice that last point? No third-party data collection. Why? Well, it's simple. In this model, there is no third party.
Okay, so that's the big idea. It sounds great, but how does an app like Briar actually do that? How does it deliver that kind of security and resilience? Well, it's all built in layers.
The report breaks it down into 4 core pieces, and each one builds on the one before it. First, the peer-to-peer connections create this tough, resilient mesh between users. Second, if you go offline, it just holds onto your message securely and zaps it over the second a connection is available. Third, it uses powerful encryption so only the person it's for can ever read it. And finally, it uses something called onion routing to hide who is talking to whom in the first place.
And this quote right here, it really just nails the core value. This isn't just some other messaging app. It's a business continuity tool for your teams out in the field or for your leadership trying to manage a blackout. The ability to talk without the internet is the very definition of resilience. It's a lifeline. Now, this is where the security gets really fascinating. See, most secure apps, they encrypt what you're saying. But this goes a huge step further. By bouncing the data through random users on the network, it also hides the metadata. And that's critical. It hides who is talking to whom. For any truly sensitive operation, protecting that information is just as vital as protecting the message itself.
Okay, so this table just makes the difference crystal clear. You see the architecture shift from centralized to decentralized. You see offline mode go from basically non-existent to fully capable. Anonymity isn't an afterthought, it's baked right in. And the source code, well, it goes from being a secret black box to something that's open and can be verified by anyone. Every single one of these is a fundamental advantage.
So the tech is cool, for sure, no doubt about it. But what does this actually mean for an organization? Where does the rubber meet the road? Let's talk about the strategic uses. All right, first up, secure collaboration. Just picture your executive team. They're trying to hash out the details of a merger or a top secret product launch. or maybe a really sensitive legal strategy. This technology guarantees that conversation stays completely private, shielded from any and all digital eavesdropping, even if their network connection is spotty. And then there's the big one, crisis communication. I'm talking about when the power is out, the cell towers are overloaded, and all your primary systems are down. This becomes your secure back channel. This is the lifeline that lets your leadership team coordinate a response when everything else has failed. And hey, if you want a benchmark for just how secure we're talking about here, think about how journalists use this. The exact same features that protect a confidential source, where a leak could literally be a matter of life and death, that's what's protecting your organization's strategy. It's a pretty powerful testament to how robust this platform is. All right, so let's wrap this up by looking ahead. Where is all of this technology going? What's next? The development roadmap here is really all about getting ready for prime time in the business world. They're focused on improving how it scales for huge teams, adding key features people need like file sharing, getting it onto desktop computers, and making it play nice with other security tools. The goal is to evolve it from a specialized app into a full-blown communication suite. Now, of course, the report is realistic. It lays out both the hurdles and the huge opportunities. The challenges? Mostly about getting people to use it, making it feel more mainstream, figuring out the regulations. But the opportunities? Wow. We're talking about giving users actual privacy, creating real resilience against censorship, and connecting people in some of the most remote corners of the world.
And that brings us right back to where we started, to the core question of this entire briefing. Take a hard look at your own organization's communication plan and ask yourself, is it genuinely resilient? Is it ready for a major disruption? Based on the insights from Virtualization Options LLC, that's the question that should be on every leader's mind.